Okay, so the thing that's occupying my time at the moment is trying to get my reporters to actually start talking back to our readers. Now, this is something that I've recently taken over a team of reporters. They're actually a technology team. But in terms of the technology of having discussions with the people who read what they write, they're way at the back, they're way behind. And there's this kind of myth amongst journalists that what has happened over the last few years with the internet and with Web 2.0 in particular is that suddenly the audience has joined the conversation. And I think it's completely the opposite way around. Now we can actually join the conversation.
Right.
We're a big print newspaper. We've been around for 150 years. People have been buying our newspapers and arguing about it over the kitchen table or in bars or in the living room for ages. They've been having a conversation without us. Now we actually get to join. And there's this degree of aloofness that a lot of journalists have. That actually, we don't want to demean ourselves by having conversations with people. You know, these are just the people who pay for our stuff, who take an interest in what we write. Why would you want to talk to those people? So what I'm trying to do is encourage these people very, very slowly to talk to the readers and start conversations. By doing that, they kind of make themselves feel a little bit more human. They make themselves seem a little more human to the readers.
And in fact are.
And they make the readers realize that actually we aren't just job titles and people at the top of some kind of mountain. Initially, what happened when we started putting comments on all of our stories is the first thing that you get through is just lots of abuse. Because there's been this completely closed door for such a long time. And when you open it, all people want to do is yell at you. And all you can do for that first phase is just kind of say, okay, and listen, and take it on board.
Go respond politely.
Yeah, you just, you can correct people where you can correct people, and you can apologize where it's right to apologize, but most of it is just listen. And once you get past that and you start to talk back, then you start having a meaningful dialogue. And the problem with a lot of reporters is a lot of reporters run away at that first abuse stage, or they get abusive and defensive back, and that sours the relationship completely. So the big thing for me at the moment is, we introduced comments when I first took over the team last summer. Now I'm saying to them every day, I want you to go in, look at your stories, and I want you to respond to at least one comment. You pick one person, maybe the least crazy person, the most productive, the most constructive, whatever you like. You pick one person, you respond to them.
Let me ask,
start building relationships.
At Wired, we had our email addresses that you could click on it. So I'd get between 50 and 100 emails a day for every story that I wrote, and I responded to every email that I got. Do you treat email the same way that you treat comment? Do you say, I need you to respond to this as well?
Yeah, and actually it's a little bit better with email. They kind of think, there was a phase when everybody's emails appeared next to their bylines in the paper, and then they stopped that. I'm not sure why they changed their minds. But
because people emailed them.
Yeah, maybe. Too many emails. It's a terrible idea. But most of the people I've come across kind of think, well, if it's landed in my inbox, I sort of have to try and do something. So they're a little bit better at that kind of response. They tend to see the comments that come underneath stories as being a little bit like graffiti. This is just somebody messing around at the bottom of the page. I can just ignore that. So the difference is trying to get them to shift over and say, well, actually, that's somebody trying to communicate with you as well. And there's a reason to go in and actually engage.
Let me ask, one of the things that I push for is the development of community managers being taught in journalism school as a skill that it's not a journalist job. Journalists are not community managers. They're storytellers, writers, information gatherers. Do you have community managers there, or is it by and large done by copy editors?
Well, it used to be me. That's the main reason. That's the main reason why I'm doing this. I was the first community editor that the Telegraph had. And it was a job that I got completely by accident. We started blogs, which became part of, I was news editor at the time, the blogs became part of my department. It suddenly became clear that there was a community role to be done as well. And that sort of became my job, and then there came a point when I realized I had two jobs and I had to make a choice. And the community stuff was the stuff that was new and exciting and slightly scary, and that was the stuff that I wanted to do.
Did your bosses realize that was a job?
It took a while. It took a sort of good...
Because it's just people, right? Just go respond a couple times.
It was about 8 months.
Really?
Convincing them that there was a job.
That was probably very frustrating 8 months.
Yeah, particularly because I was doing it anyway. It had to be done. So
and once you get invested in it, you feel it is then... They're not just readers anymore, right? They're part of the news community that you're building, and so just leaving them is...
Yeah, and my colleagues thought I was mad. I posted something on my blog saying we'd moved to a big new office, the largest open floor office in London, really spectacular newsroom, and I posted on my blog, if you want to come and see us, just come in, we're going to have an open evening, come in, we'll show you around the office, we'll talk to you. You can meet some of our bloggers. We had a guy fly in from Spain to come and see us. We had people come from all over the country. The journalists thought this was crazy.
Right.
I mean, half the number of people we brought along to this evening, half of them had never met a reader. And this is a newspaper that sells 800,000 copies a day in the UK. It's one of the biggest selling broadsheets. They just don't talk to readers.
Right.
And it's a different kind of model in the UK because it's not like here where it's more local, so you're more likely to.
Right. It's more like the New York Times now.
Yeah. So for them to suddenly meet these people face to face and realise, actually, they're not complete weirdos.
Right.
You can have a conversation with them. They're intelligent.
Right.
And the most important thing that came out of that was that they really, really care about the brand.
Right.
Really passionate about it. And the thrill they got of being in our offices. This is just the place I go to work every day. They were so excited.
Writers never think of themselves as anything other than we're like depressed, awful, horrible, depraved people, right? And when people want to know us, we're like, I just trust you for that.
Well,
what's wrong with you? Hey, that was actually 6 minutes. We want more, so thank you very much.
Cool.